Hello, everybody. I am Amikakita. Nice to meet you all. So for today, I am gonna do something out of my norm, which is to analyze to do an analyzing on Genshin, the game that actually been on the fire for the past day, and although there is still a bit of drama around, but I'm still going to talk about it, and it is based on analyzing based off my view, experience, and opinion. So in the sense is that it does take quite a while to prepare a lot of document to ensure the facts and happening, but at the same time, I'm just going to talk about a bit of what I know and based on my understanding, meaning to say that at the same by the time of this record, any new additional record of or information will be considered out by then, and I will be not able to do additional update, or probably I will just do additional video update on them later on. But we are going to talk about and analyze what went wrong for Kenshin Mihoyo, the anniversary that everyone was looking for, and how Mihoyo might have prevented it, or how the community should react. So in the sense, we are going to talk about it, and first thing first, before anything, I have to put some disclaimer for here just to be safe. First thing first, whatever that is record from this on is all based on my opinion and also based on my view and experience. At the same time, I'm not defending the player base or the communities of Genshin Impact nor the company Mihoyo in this video. So whatever I say, that even though I'm defending either the communities of Genshin Impact or the company itself, Mihoyo, please understand is that I'm gonna stand in the middle and explaining based on what actually lead to those situations and how it can actually be prevented. At the same time, sources are also taken mostly from online Google search or in-game picture, screenshot, whatever that you can think of. I do interact with a few players myself, and I do comment in a few YouTube video and chat with a few people using my private account, and came to understanding a few stuff. But at the same time, this is based on my interaction and understanding. So if there is a better statistic or analyze up there, feel free to comment on the comment below and let me have a better understanding of what you have to understand on the video. So without further ado, let's go to the trigger. So the funny thing is about the trigger, when I talk about the trigger, is that we are going to talk about what caused the event, what caused all the backlash. Why does Mihoyo suddenly have something having like bad review on Google Play, or everyone is talking about this? Is that the trigger was actually the anniversary, the first year anniversary of Genshin Impact, which in a sense is that what most people don't really tend to understand is that for a game hitting a 1 year milestone is considered a huge milestone, and not a lot of game can last up to beyond a year. Some just last a few months and die down. So for Mihoyo to be popular even for 1 year and is keep on running and possibly running for future in a sense that this first milestone is considered a very huge milestone. So everyone, lawyers, player, new player, or even casual player, a lot of people were looking forward to this Genshin Impact and first year anniversary. And I am going to spread out a lot point of view about the trigger, but at the same time, those will be under the something I'm called the lead up to the trigger. But what caused the trigger is that a lot of people wasn't happy about the rewards. The initial reward that most people point out is actually the passage of Cloud and Stars, a daily lock-in event, as well as a in-game story event called the Moonlight Management, which is based off the Chinese New Year, the Mid-Autumn Festival. So a lot of people was not happy about these two. Is that for these two event given that is supposedly to be celebrated during the anniversary, in a way is that a lot of people is not happy is because of that Mihoyo take this as a event, and whoever played the game for quite long, they came to realize that it's an event that have been ongoing. It's like there are many events during each patch or during each game patch or version. So for Mihoyo to do something similar is that a lot of people wasn't happy. Not just the primal gem itself, but actually more like what lead to Mihoyo to do something that is similar to this. So a lot of people is taking in point of view is that everyone is not happy with the reward. Yes, but the main point was actually how many people is not happy that Mihoyo is not taking this 1-year anniversary seriously. If you go and take a look at many past event game during each game version or game pack, there are actually similar event to these two, and in a sense that many take it that Mihoyo is not doing enough. I know that a lot of people in the company feel a bit wrong that they are doing a lot, like the voice actor who is doing their best to give life to a character, or the game programmer having to create programming or debugging any bugs or error in the game. So in a sense is that for the game company, like the game developers, the designer, or even the music composer themselves, it's unfair to judge them as one Mihoyo, which I understand that everyone is grouping them as one Mihoyo because it's the game company itself. But the thing is, the person in charge of creating all these reward and event is not really those people. I mean, voice actor is just supposed to give voice to a character. They don't really have any say, or they don't even have anything that other than just doing just voice acting. Because if you ask them, can they create a game? I doubt they can do something like that, and people are blaming them because they feel like they are the person who might have a play on that, which is not true at all. But the one who gave the reward, who authorized that the reward is for the anniversary of Genshin Impact first year, is similar to previous run of event. That caused a lot of people to think that Mihoyo is stingy or greedy. So that is what lead to the outrage and trigger a lot of people. As you all know that I did put the picture of Aaron here. What I need to highlight about this character is that there are a lot of people who associate Aaron as an anniversary gift, despite it being a cross agreement between Mihoyo and Sony that Aaron will be a playable character in Genshin Impact. This character had also been on the fire that because she is technically a free 5-star character in the game, and despite that, a lot of people feel like because Aaron is a character without story lore or a lot of issues. So in a sense that a lot of people, there were quite a few group of people doesn't feel happy about Aaron being added to the game. Similar to another game created by Mihoyo called Whole Guy Impacted, where they created a bunny suit costume for the girls, and it created some drama in the game because of communities by the Chinese, and then some issue here and there, and then it was totally removed. But we'll get to that story a little bit later on. But for Aaron, it does hit a bit of similar situation. But at the same time, too, if you ask me, I feel like Aaron is quite a nice character to play with, even though she does receive the backlash. But on the other hand, I can see where it's going is that a lot of people associate Aaron as an anniversary gift because she is released on Genshin gamepad of during the anniversary run. So PlayStation player can get this character for free in advance, while people who is playing on PC version or mobile version will receive at a later game version or gamepad accordingly. So as for now, if you ask me why do I place this in this, the reason why I place it is that if you think about it, it is given for free during an anniversary period. In a sense, it can be considered a reward, but to me, I would call it a convenient reward. Meaning to say that when I team a free item as a convenient reward, it means that the thing is given during a period where you can bear to part with the item and give it to someone. Meaning to say that for Mihoyo, if they decide, they can actually plan the release of Aaron before or way after the anniversary period. But if they decide to place it during this period, it can be considered an anniversary reward, even though a lot of people might disagree with me. But if we think over the whole thing about the reward, many people feel like it's not enough. So for the in-game event, it seems like it's something that is ongoing, an ongoing event in the game, and for Iron, it's just something that is between a cross play between the Sony and Mihoyo. So in a sense, it can also mean that these all are not considered as it cannot be considered an anniversary reward. So in other words, it means that Mihoyo is not giving any anniversary reward that is significant to the game itself. And that caused a lot of trigger in everyone's mind. And it actually became a huge fire that Mihoyo and many people couldn't believe in. So the trigger itself is basically this first two with Iron indirectly part of it. So the reaction by the community, as we need to talk about, is although it's called reaction by the communities, what I'm gonna say can be a shock to many people because it is not something that most people might expect though. So in a sense, is that the reaction by many people will turn out to be actually a bit of different from what many people from both sides might expect. First thing first, the one that is standing out the most that a lot of people is taking note is the angry or the people who is mad or people who is grieving and being disappointed, as well as feel like they are being unappreciated or betrayed by the game. Because in the sense that the reason why they are angry, like what I explained, they feel like they are not appreciated. They feel like they have supported the game. The Genshin communities they feel like they had supported the game to make the game into one of the best game in the world, even awarding one of the top game of 2020. With many people showing their support for the game, obviously they wish to have appreciated by the company itself. But as I mentioned earlier, the reward was actually, in a sense, that for long-term player is similar to a normal game event, at which many people feel like Mihoyo is being lazy with the gift, or being stingy, or being greedy, and that caused them to feel a bit of being betrayed, despite even though those are considered free gift. So in a sense, they feel it's not enough. So that is where some people start defending Mihoyo. So the hopeful and the defending, they are hoping that Mihoyo will turn around. So there are a lot of people who is hoping Mihoyo will turn around and give freebie. And there are people who are defending Mihoyo, saying that Mihoyo need times, or Mihoyo is gonna give us a surprise, or Mihoyo is you can't blame Mihoyo or whatever. But when you look at the whole thing, you can actually understand the reason why the community is angry. It's because they feel betrayed, they feel unappreciated. So for people who start defending Mihoyo, you shouldn't get angry, you shouldn't do this, you should treat out whatsoever. In a sense, is that became a huge fire, because one side is the oil, one side is the fire. One is on fire, people start, instead of putting out using water to put out the fire, those defending Mihoyo and the hopeful start saying in a way that, from my view, is that they are not communicating in the right way, and it fueled the fire into a huge issue that people start becoming what they call toxic. And I will get to that later on, but in a sense that when a people is mad about a game, don't try to fuse the fire up and try to defend Mihoyo. Like, for when the Genshin community is mad, let them be, let them calm down first, and then talk about it. When a person is angry, it is very, very hard to make them understand the situation is happening. But at the same time, a lot of people start defending, and it caused a lot of problem here and there, and that became some sort of like infighting between in between the communities. But I'm not saying that everyone is doing the infighting accordingly. Like, there are a group of people who is unaware of such issues, like the casual player or new player or the public people. Is that I had asked quite a few public people to ask them if they are aware of the drama in Genshin Impact, and they are unaware of the issue. And it is only by when I inform them about such issue that they start coming to be aware of the case, and they start looking into the case, and they find it to be outrageous. But at the same time, they feel like it is not ununderstandable that those people are angry or disappointed, because 1 year anniversary, be it a wedding anniversary or friendship anniversary, or maybe for girlfriend or boyfriend, their 1 year anniversary, it's a huge milestone, and Genshin is not taking it seriously, which caused a lot of people to be disappointed and unappreciated, and that caused a huge backlash. And then that seriously caused a huge driver that we are that's the reason why Mihoyo didn't probably in my view is that they feel they predicted this, because if they predicted this issue, they might be able to handle it accordingly, but they did not understand the significance of 1 year anniversary for a game. reaching a 1 year anniversary is a huge thing, and in the sense that I can understand why a lot of people is very unappreciated, but I will talk about the reason what lead to the people being be angry or dissatisfied or disappointed about. So we will talk about that at a later timing. But for now, we are going to talk about the reaction and the thing that had did by the community. So for some people who is having a mixed feeling is that there are some people who is happy that Mihoyo is aware of the anniversary, but they're also quite sad because the reward is not a lot. So in a sense is that they are also part of the disappointed or unappreciated group. But at the same time, they are also defending Mihoyo a little bit or being hopeful at the same time. So it's kind of like a mixed feeling for this group of people. And then there is a minority doesn't care. So most of the people that belong to this group is either likely the public people or people who play the a new player or casual player at the same time. So in a sense that it doesn't affect them too much, and to them it feel like it's just a game and they just let everything go. And as for me, I was eating some popcorn. So we are going to okay, so for now we are going to talk the community strike back. This one might come as a surprise despite earlier I mentioning about some people defending Mihoyo. So the reason why is the community strike back is that the trigger to the reward being not significant to be considered anniversary for Genshin first year, and as well as the huge issue about people is complaining about about the lack of reward that caused a lot of people to go to online social media like Facebook, Reddit, or even forum in that done by Mihoyo called the Holy Lab, as well as a few others like Twitter or even YouTube, where content creator even create video in YouTube to talk about how they are disappointed or mad about the reward, and people commenting in YouTube video, be in the content creator themselves or Mihoyo official website itself, even giving some of the latest video created by or uploaded by Genshin Impact themselves official website, a huge amount of dislike. The strike back was what caused the huge fire and the drama, and it went viral, and that was the one thing that caused a lot of issue. So a lot of people was wondering why does Mihoyo did something that caused a lot of people to create this backlash. Is that Mihoyo didn't address too much on the reward and just choose to be silent, and that caused the community to feel like they are being ignored, and that's the reason why that people start lashing out, even going to Reddit to post, or even doing things like going to the Google Play and giving 1-star review, and causing the review rating of Genshin Impact in Google Play from 4.6 or 4.7, if I can recall. I believe it was 4.7, to drop to the lowest that I was aware, 1.8 star rating. It was almost a 3-star rating drop. And talk about Mihoyo love to give everyone a 3-star freebie through gacha. So in the sense that a lot of people decided to just drop the rating of Genshin a lot, and even people going to Genshin official Discord to and post Chi sticker on their server, and that caused a lot issue around because everyone was like wanting Mihoyo to do something about it, and yet Mihoyo didn't address it, and at the same time caused a lot of people to spam doing review bomb or spamming Chi. Some even took the point of leaving the communities, meaning to say that they wish to not play the game anymore or uninstalling. So in a sense, it does cause a lot of people to leave the game accordingly. But what led to all this, as what I mentioned, I will be talk about later on. But at the same time, the most funny thing and the worst part is that the Western people are talking about it, the Chinese community actually did talk about such thing, and they are also of the same mind that they feel like 1 year anniversary is a huge milestone, and that Mihoyo is being stingy or greedy, and they are kind of like not giving back to the community enough for despite the support done by the community himself. But the review bomb, despite affecting the Genshin impact itself, doesn't end there. It actually, a source from Kotaku actually lead to people realizing that people actually go to other game like Hogai Impact or the Tears or Terraces, which is created by Mihoyo, the same game company. They also got review bomb too. Other game that is not related to Mihoyo or Genshin in any other way, like Fate Grand Order or Epic 7, all these game also get review bomb, which to me I feel like it's overstepping the line because you are getting community that is not involved in Genshin community into the fight itself. And personally, why I don't really understand why they decided to do it. Is it because they want to publicize that the thing did by Mihoyo is not right? I mean, that in the sense that other game when they reach their first year anniversary, they did give a lot of reward to celebrate their 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years accordingly. But Mihoyo didn't do it. They didn't give a proper answer for their freebie or anniversary reward, and that caused a huge uproar. And people, in a sense, I can't understand if you tell me that those people are jealous of other game, and that lead them to that then lead to the review bombing, then personally what I would say is ridiculous. But overall, as what I just mentioned, is that review bombing is one thing. There is a way to talk about like go through the right channel and talk to Mihoyo and write your complaint. But and this is a point that I was told and will that a few people who is defending Mihoyo told me accordingly. Go through the right channel, talk to Mihoyo accordingly. But I will talk about why Mihoyo didn't give the community the chance to complain. We'll talk about that a bit later, but something that Mihoyo did actually caused a lot of people to be outraged. And if you actually talk about if you talk about an issue and you raise it to the company, if the company address it, yes, then people will understand it. But when company decided to censor it, then that became an issue. Like, take a look at this situation over here. what Mihoyo did was actually kind of outrageous. Is that some they, if you take a look here, this post will undergo a review process. This actually meant that the issue was gotten it's like, how to say it, got way too much, to the point that Mihoyo or anything that is related to Mihoyo or Genshin Impact got banned in even the subreddit, as well as other game platforms. And those people who defending Mihoyo fail to realize that the reason most people are angry is because, and start lashing out in other way like review bombing or all this, is because is that Mihoyo do stuff like this, or other people, other social media doing stuff like this, that cause people to feel like to be more enraged. And as I mentioned earlier, never fight again with a person who is angry. Get away, or best let them calm down first. For Mihoyo to do something like doing banning people or deleting all this review or whatsoever, this cause people to, or the community itself, to be more enraged and more angry. And when they became more angrier, then people will do stuff to the point that the damage can't be reversed. And in a sense, that there are even voice actors being attacked by the community before, and even one of them did got attacked for other reason, which we'll talk about it later on. But when I believe there is a saying that never corner a rat to a corner, it will strike back. The community was forced to that corner. People start complaining on Reddit, all this, but when they lost the platform to complain or to write their grief, they will find other way or other mean to raise their issue out. And review bombing was sadly one of those issues. So the thing that Mihoyo did badly was they created the fire themselves. Instead of putting out the fire, instead of letting the people, the community, to calm down accordingly, they banned them from such thing, and this caused a lot of people to be very, very mad. And the backlash is really, really bad from the overall that I take from my point of view see. And I still feel that Mihoyo can actually do something like not banning people from, instead let people grieve, let people talk. If you're going to ignore the message, I know that in marketing is gonna affect their reputation, but in the first place, instead of doing something like banning, it would be much better if they actually give a message out, say something like they are going to address the issue, they are understanding the grief or all this. I know that some people say it might be a bad move, but dropping a small hint or a small message about that might help them to a certain damage control first. Not answering or not even explaining anything is gonna make things worse, and it's not going to completely put out the fire. But what Mihoyo did for this situation was causing a lot of people to grieve, into the corner of grieving, and it actually caused the fire to be this much worse. So the Chinese community was also complaining about the same issue, which is kind of funny in my sense, is that a lot of people don't see that Mihoyo talk about Chinese communities, that Mihoyo will listen to the Chinese community, but in a sense that the Chinese community did talk about it, they did raise the issue, but the same thing happened over at their side. There was a lot of people got banned. There was a lot of people got unable to who talk about the issue got review or whatever the comment they write got deleted or whatsoever, and that caused a lot of people to be mad from the Chinese community to be mad at Mihoyo too. But because of translation issue, I believe that a lot of people don't understand what is happening between the Chinese community for the Westerner. But thing is, the Chinese and I believe for the Westerner community and the Chinese community is that both are having the same issue, that Mihoyo did not did enough for the anniversary, first year anniversary. But there are a few countries who either don't. I did mention that they either don't care or they don't really talk too much about it. The Japanese communities, on another hand, that although there is quite a few handful of people talking about such issue, I don't really see much of them writing too much on that. It's just that when they saw the review done by the Chinese and the English Westerner, is that they realized it's like getting out of hand. But some of the people who I speak in the Japanese community, they are aware of such issue, but they do not raise the issue to such fire, which I am very grateful, because what people should learn is that from the Japanese community is that I know you are all mad, I know you are all angry, but at the same time raising the issue, point out the issue in a mannerly way instead of going be and bombastic other game. I mean, the Honkai Impact and other game, they are a separate game. They do have a separate community base. Don't drag them in. For people who play game, but if you are a player who play Genshin Impact and maybe the Fate Grand Order at the same time, keep it to yourself. Separate them as different game. Don't put them under the same category as something called game. I know game. When we say game, everything is game, but please don't drag the community together, because not everyone who play Genshin Impact might play other game too. Even if they play other game, they might not play the same game as you. So to me, I feel like the community did something wrong by doing review bombing on other game. But at the same time, I can understand why what led to this, because what Mihoyo did was too much. And right now we are going to talk about attack on voice actor. Earlier I mentioned about Kenshin, the Kenshin community. They actually, some people go and attack in the comment or the chat of the live stream for 2.1 English live stream, or maybe the Chinese voice actor for Kokomi. So what actually went wrong is that there was an issue about people talking about 1 month ago about the anniversary or stuff, and a lot of people talk about issue, and sadly for the voice actor, despite not having part of the game planning, all they do is just give life to the character they are going to voice. Zach, who is the voice actor for the Traveler Esther, and Gui Niang, who is the voice actor for Kokomi in the of the Chinese version, they got a it's just like they got attacked and they are just only giving voice. They do not take part in the planning of the character. They do not take part in the creation of the skill of the character. They do not do whatsoever. They just only voice. They are given line, phrase, sentence, and they just speak in a way to make sure the character will feel more life. Having a life of life, being alive, I'm alive, something like that. So attacking them is not going to issue, but some people just don't understand the point that, and they assume that the voice actor have played a part in the creation of this game, which they don't. And for the communities, this everyone need to have the understanding is that voice actor is just only giving voice to the character. They are not creating the game. They had no part of the game other than giving the voice. So it's really bad to attack them. But if you wish to talk about a game character issue to them, ask them for their opinion. Ask them what do they think about the game. Do they share the same view as you? If they do, then that's great. But if they don't, live in a mannerly way and don't attack them. They play no part of the creation of the character other than giving a voice to the character itself. So it's really wrong it's really wrong to attack the voice actor, but at the same time I can understand where the community is, because as I mentioned earlier, when people had lost a platform to talk about an issue, people will go to find other source that is linked to the game itself. Sadly, voice actor, as I mentioned, although played the part in giving the voice, they are also kind of like more like the outfront for the character itself. So meaning to say that when people are aware who is giving the voice for the character, people will know who they are. And when that happens, they will talk about the character, the Genshin character to all these voice actor, and instead of talking in a mannerly way, they might be like bashing them, thinking that they are playing part of it. Probably at that time when they write the comment, you can call them toxic, but based on their situation, they might be on fire, on heat, to the point that they are very angry. So if they are not thinking right, I believe that we should forgive them, to let them calm down and relax and rethink what mistake they did. But at the same time, I feel like the attack on the voice actor is really way too much. So the next thing we are going to talk about, Mihoyo response to the anniversary. As I mentioned earlier, why do people start review bombing? Why do people start grieving? Why do people start talking about? And when I mentioned that Mihoyo forced them to the corner, even though it's their first year anniversary, even though Mihoyo should be talking about something, what forced the community into the corner? What kind of corner are we talking about? This exactly. Genshin subreddit was under lockdown. Complaining other track get you banned. Meaning to say that you are forcing the community to not talk about the anniversary. Other track like the NGA for the Chinese, they got similar stuff. Even Mihoyo own forum, Hoyo Lab. If you complain about the anniversary, you get purged. You got brought or you get banned. So in a sense, is that even Discord, you get banned for toxicity, as I mentioned. This is not what you should be doing. As I mentioned earlier, you should let the fire die down, and I know that if you ignore them, the amount of review will keep increasing. I can understand that. Instead of doing all this, they should at least maybe drop a message and say that be ready for a surprise. Even if you want to say, if you have no surprise, drop something, anything. Once you do something like that, afterwards you start doing clearing all this. Then it's understandable. People start raging is because there was no reply, there was no statement, and then people start get banning due to it's like censorship issue. People start raging on, and that is causing the huge fire and viral of the story for anniversary Genshin first year. People should just rage, just left and rage. I even have a few people who come to my podcast raging about wanting to quit Genshin, hating Mihoyo, don't even want me to play the game anymore. And every time I just say this, then if you hate the game, uninstall it. I'm not gonna stop you. To me, it's like I'm just gonna play the game as per normal, do whatever I want, and enjoy the game. A few days later, the same person come to me. He reinstalled the game properly, but he played the game accordingly. He became the hopeful. He became that Mihoyo will turn things around. All this is that I did not stop the person from raging. A few days later, the person come back to me and say, "I believe Mihoyo will do something." That is how you should interact with the communities. Point a few things out, give a statement, let them calm down, and then talk again. Doing something like banning people, blocking people, is not going to stop the fire. Even if in a sense, is that the fire will keep on raging even in other platforms. So in a way, is that Mihoyo did badly on this point. They shouldn't do something like this, and that caused an issue. And the most funny thing, what happened is that when I said Mihoyo should give a statement, instead of giving a statement, they did something like, "Oh, we have hashtag in Twitter, and it's anniversary hashtag." This is not the way you should handle the situation. If they want to introduce anniversary hashtag, by all means, give a statement before this hashtag. They did not address the situation. Instead, they just give anniversary hashtag, yay! No, you should be talking about there will be some surprise. Please look forward to it. Oh, I understand everyone's frustration. There will be surprise. Hold on. Just wait. ちょっと待ってください. Instead of just raging, but instead Mihoyo just say hashtag. Hey, we got hashtag. Imagine you are showing a happy face to an angry person. Instead of cheering them out, is showing the frame out. Never show a happy face to a angry person. If the person is angry, if you show a happy face, they might misunderstood the meaning behind the happy face. Mihoyo did what Mihoyo did for the hashtag personally wise, I had posts about I like the hashtag. They are so cute, but there is an order to each individual stuff. My opinion for this is, before posting this out, we are prepared. Write something like, we are preparing a series of reward. Just a simple comment like this, a simple post like this, will be enough to appease a majority of the community's base. Instead, Mihoyo chose not to do that and decided to just, hey, we got hashtag, use it. Obviously, people is not going to be happy. Secondly, a funny thing is that people were expecting Mihoyo to give 5-star in for their thing. So if I were to refer to the stuff that I missed out earlier, is that the reward was just very few or little, and a lot of people feel like they want a free 5-star. But yes, you will be getting a free 5-star, which I mentioned earlier is Iron, but that is a cross agreement between Sony and Genshin, and in no sense to people is gonna address that as an anniversary reward. People expecting other type of reward, better reward. So for Mihoyo case situation right now is that sadly Aron is not considered in many people's eyes a 5-star, because either they feel like it's a reward that is, they feel like it's associated between Sony and Genshin, the Mihoyo, and not between, it's not considered anniversary reward. In a sense, it's not wrong, but at the same time, it's also not right. But the reason, but people want a 5-star, other type of 5-star character, not just Iron, even though Iron is a 5-star character, sadly. So in this case, you can say that it's a convenient 5-star character for free, but because at the same time people is raging, and most of people who doesn't have it will just keep on raging more and more. So that's caused the issue to right now, that people want a lot more than just. And another thing about this about the hashtag is that each hashtag costs millions, almost $1 million. So for Genshin to spend money to create such hashtag, it can cost 100 million. They actually spent 100 millions to 200. I can't. Some source says 100 million. Some source 200 million. Some source said almost 3 million. So I had no idea how much it is. But from what I know, if one hashtag equivalent to 1 million, that is quite a lot, because if you ask me, how am I going to spend 300 million, let's say even $3 million, I'm just going to sit back and relax. 300 million, that is going to last me a year. A year of spamming, giving everyone for free money just to get for, I said free 5-6 stars. So instead of giving everyone a free 5-star character, which many people feel like they are entitled to, they get hashtag. So that fuels the fire a lot more. So my advice is that for people who is expecting a 5-star, Iron will be the 5-star. Even though it's between a cross agreement between Sony and Mihoyo, that's the free 5-star you're gonna get. Accept it, and then forget about the anniversary stuff. The next thing that I want to talk about is don't give too much hope. The response by the Genshin after the issue was that the next issue after they talk about the hashtag was that they talk about the 2.2 version live stream, which will be happening on 3rd October. 9 I believe is at almost of 9 Japan timing, and so in a sense that they are going to talk about the game newer version 2.2 on a Sunday, which is kind of unique because mostly they talk on a Friday night. So I believe the reason why they are not addressing this is that they are playing it safe. They're trying to ensure all the issue are being taken off before they talk about it. At the same time, the slot for the Tokyo game in the Tokyo Game Sport or whatsoever, I can't recall what's the name for it. The Tokyo game in Japan is that Genshin is also part of it. They are going to invite voice actor for a few characters like Xingyan or Toma, who voiced the voice actor themselves, and to do a live stream together on 2.2. So in a sense that it does give a lot of people a feel hopeful that yes, they are going, hopefully Mihoyo is going to address about the anniversary. They are going to talk about anniversary or this and that. I did talk to a few people, and one of them asked me, and my opinion was, how do I feel about it? Based on my experience, my advice to everyone is, do not hope too much. There is a Chinese saying, 你希望越大，你失望更大. The more you hope, the more disappointed you will be. And when it comes to sales, I always live by the principle that never give your customer hope. Because if you give stuff like hope, that they will get even more hopeful, and when you fail to deliver the stuff that you promise, they are gonna get disappointed. They'll get mad, and like what happened earlier, everyone was hopeful for a good anniversary reward. Mihoyo failed to deliver. That caused the current issue of the backlash, the strike back, the review bombing, all this issue. Never gives hope to people. Mihoyo failed to answer that. Mihoyo have been doing stuff like giving hope and whatsoever. It lead to many people to be very, very hopeful. On the other hand, I can understand at the same time, because I have to point this out, and I'm not gonna defend Mihoyo, but some content creator for Genshin Impact, they kind of like give too much hope to the community at the same time. The content creators themselves have to hold a bit of blame. It's because some content creator give me a dislike, bash in my comment if you hate it, but I still have to say it, is that don't talk about free Primogen or whatsoever until Mihoyo stated so. Even if you are disappointed with Mihoyo, the community, there are some people who is not happy with it, and they might even be more angrier. So I'm not saying it's not entirely the content creator fault, but at the same time, what they do is like, there are some content creators saying that, oh, Mihoyo is giving free reward, if maybe, even if you say the word maybe this much, when you say maybe this much, and when Mihoyo fail to deliver to that, people is not gonna be happy. It's not gonna be happy, and they're gonna blame Mihoyo for that, even though initially it was content creator who is talking about, oh, maybe this, maybe that. Before you tell to other people about what Mihoyo might give, ensure that you cannot guarantee Mihoyo will give or not. You just say a possibility that Mihoyo is like, for example, like the Mihoyo is good for this one. A lot if people ask me, Mihoyo gonna address about the anniversary issue, I told them don't be hopeful. They may or may not talk about anniversary in this 2.2 live stream. They might be just talking about what latest character is coming out, what new feature, what new stuff will be added to the game. They might not even talk about anniversary at all. And for the live stream, I feel like there is a possibility of them disabling the comment because people is gonna flood it with or spam it accordingly. That is what my prediction is. But at the same time, I wish that everyone who is hopeful don't hold too much hope. They might not address it. The reason that most people is being hopeful is that they are hoping that Mihoyo will address this, but at the same time, don't hold too much hope, because if the Mihoyo is give even if Mihoyo give free stuff, if the free stuff doesn't satisfy you, and you are gonna feel disappointed, you're gonna feel mad, and it'll be the same thing again and again and again. So before giving hope, never tell people that it's as if it's gonna be guaranteed. This thing happened to I had come across I had experienced this, not myself but someone I know. What happened to her is that she was supposed to give supposedly to be giving something free to a customer, and she been talking to the customer in a way that she is likely to give a freebie to the customer. I was like, what? So what happened is, do you give the freebie? Her manager, instead of saying it was supposed to give a freebie, instead the manager suddenly just turn back and say, oh no, we are going to charge the freebie, the so-called freebie. So it's like, it's going to give a thing to to a person for free, and suddenly her manager just say, no, we are not going to give it for free. Can we charge the person for this item? And my sister was like, what to do? Even so, in a way, is that when I have even so, the person I just mentioned is my sister. It's just, I was like, why? So did you check with the manager? Did the manager did something like it was supposed to be free? She was told that it can be given for free. So for this situation, is that she been talking with the intention that it might be free. My sister is something like a content creator. The manager is supposed to be the person who is in charge of giving the thing for free, and the customer is the person she is talking with. It caused a huge problem where the person was really angry. Is that never give hope. I told my sister, don't give hope to a customer. This is a practice that you should never give, because if you give hope and you feel delivered, people will get angry. Some people might be disappointed or feel betrayed, but the worst kind of people you can see is angry. Genshin community is a huge community. There are a lot of players in the game. Some might feel angry, some might feel disappointed, some might feel so. In the sense that, as mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people who react differently to the stuff, and I feel like if you are not going to address the issue directly, like ensuring the gift is free or not, check ensure everything is said free. Don't go and say, is guaranteed free or is maybe free or whatsoever. Ensure that there is a possibility, and by saying may or may not instead of maybe. You have to. I know it's like pouring cold water on everyone, but giving too much hope to a lot of people is gonna get a backlash. So in a sense, don't do something like that. If any content creator is watching this time of video, please don't do something like giving too much hope. When people talk about, like in Genshin, if people talk about freebie or whatsoever, may or may not, and wait until it's confirmed. Say something like that. It's gonna be it's not too much, because when people ask me, when I'm not sure, I will say no guarantee, no, I'm not sure. But once it's confirmed, once it's fixed there, once it's given, or it is confirmed to be given, that is when you can go and say yes, confirm. And in my words, confirm plus chop plus stamp plus warranty plus my signature. When that, at least people will react differently, but at least not negatively. Practice in sales practice overall, don't do something like giving a customer or anyone hope. It's gonna be bad if you do something like that. The last thing that I find interesting is that Mihoyo. Actually, I wasn't gonna talk up. I was going to do this recording a day earlier during the fire moment, but I was like, let's give a one day and see how it goes. And it turned out that Mihoyo actually did something like a cover, damage control, however you call it. Mihoyo responded by giving a freebie on the 30th September. West Asia server received it earlier, while other server received at a later timing due to server issue, which I had no idea what kind of issue they have, but everyone received the so-called anniversary reward. Another thing I want to talk about is that never trick your customer. I did learn it the hard way, but at the same time, I did see people who encounter it worse than me. When I say never treat your customer, is that if you're gonna treat your customer, make sure they get tricked without no one knowing it. And ensure that the secret stay with you all the way to your grave. So for the current situation right now is that Mihoyo decided to give a series of reward. And the most funniest thing that I ever considered is that Mihoyo give a freebie to everyone that was supposedly to be a bundle that costs $13. Some people say it's a different name. Yes, but it's the same freaking model. It's the same freaking wing of glider, depending on how you call it. For Mihoyo to give something that they are supposed to sell it, prove that they decided, in my view, is that they recycle a gift. In a sense, is that a lot of people on the time of our recording, a lot of people is starting to realize it. Before when it was given, a lot of people was like, yes, Mihoyo is giving, Mihoyo is listening. But in my view, I feel like it's a cover up, but a poorly cover up. Because some people will say it's a damage control. It's definitely a damage control. No, I won't really call it a damage control fully. But at the same time, I can understand. To my case, I feel I will be called it a recycle recycling a gift. Or how to say it? Recycling something that they are supposedly supposed to use it to earn money, and yet they just said it. Oh, we can bury it. We just give it for free to everyone. So you can say it's damage control, but when everyone is still raging about it, and definitely the fire did there a lot of people start coming down, which is good. But Mihoyo's could have done better. Instead, they just recycle something and rename it or redo something and then give it for free. The worst part was a lot of people point this out. Mihoyo is yet to address the issue. What kind of issue is that they never give apology? They just say thank you for your support. As I mentioned earlier, Mihoyo missed the timing to say we are going to give everyone a surprise. Please wait. Just write a statement before you give the hashtag, before you talk about live stream, before you even give the freebie. By dropping a message a short message like that, it's gonna appease a lot more than a lot more people in the community than you might expect. Feeling that timing, feeling that specific message, is gonna appease a lot of people, but not all. Damage control is something that you must do by ensuring that everyone is under control. Not half the people is under control. There are still people raging, but if you ask me, I'm happy with the win. But at the same time, it caused another issue, as I mentioned earlier. Never give too much hope. The gift is a series of gifts, meaning to say this is first part of the of the series gift given for the anniversary, which I find a bit scary. At the same time, I find it's gonna be a huge problem because there is a content creator out there saying that Mihoyo might give a 4-star character or a 5-star character or free weapon. That is a very dangerous line, as I mentioned earlier. Never give hope. Even you say the word may. The right way to address that is that Mihoyo might give additional gift. What kind we won't be we are unsure, but we can only wait and see. Say something like that. If you're gonna say, yeah, they might give you a free 4-star, they might give this, they might give that. That, by the time, as I mentioned earlier, when you hope for too much, your disappointment is gonna come back much more. So, I don't really like the part of that where people is giving out hope. That is the reason why I did point out a few content creator, don't give too much hope. That is gonna be very bad for a lot of people. Whether they listen to this video or even if people point this video to other people, I do not know. But if you are doing something like in the sales or doing business with someone, ensure that never give too much hope or guarantee or whatsoever. Is that ensure that you can do it before you let people feel happiness. I know that giving hope is good, but when there is uncertainty to a specific stuff, giving too much hope is gonna backfire way a lot more than it's initially supposed to be. For this case, I feel like when the content creators I say there might be a free character, the free bundle doesn't indicate character. It's more like they just indicate some name, some picture, some card, or a wing guider or whatever. That if Mihoyo, by the time of this recording, do not give a free character, that is gonna piss off quite a few people no matter what. So in a sense, I feel it's a very dangerous line that Mihoyo need to be very, very careful as for now. But at the same time, I hope that everyone who don't hold too much hope for this, because it's gonna be a huge problem when you hope for too much and you don't get the result that you want. So for now, we are going to talk about the lead out. And what does the word lead out mean to? As I mentioned earlier, is that the trigger for Mihoyo was the reward not given enough, and people associate that the reason why people is mad at Mihoyo was because of the anniversary. But in fact, when I talked to quite a few people, some point out that it wasn't just the anniversary issue. If it was just only the anniversary issue, people will be mad and disappointed only, not doing something like review bombing on this. It was a chain of events that caused a lot of people to be very decided to be mad at Mihoyo initially. It's like there is a lot of stuff that that I'm going to talk about that Mihoyo did badly, or issue with Mihoyo that players have with Mihoyo, or in regard to Genshin Impact. Not just the anniversary. It's just that people is not satisfied with a lot of stuff in game, and that caused the lead out to the final trigger called the anniversary reward. The anniversary reward was the final straw. It wasn't the first bomb. It was a series of chain of events causing up to the final call, the trigger, the anniversary first year Genshin Impact reward. That was the final straw. The lead out was what caused the chain of event. So for now, we are going to talk about a lot of in-game stuff that long-term player or veteran players know about. So if you are aware of all this stuff, by all means skip. But if you are a person who is not aware of that issue, do take your time to continue to listen, because as I mentioned earlier at the start of my video, it's going to be a long talking and it's just me addressing the issue. So the first main issue, artifact farming or artifact status. The one thing that a lot of people, including myself, find and having an issue with artifact in the game. What is artifact? To newest player or people who is unaware of Genshin, is that artifact is what make a character strong, and the bonus set, the character item used by the character will affect how good the character is, how strong the character is. So they call it the artifact set, but for other people who play other games, it's something called like the equipment or item that you to equip your character with. So for the artifact is that the issue about artifact is that you need, in order to become strong, your character have to equip with 5 different artifacts, which you have to farm for it. And having equip a set of artifact will give you additional set bonus. We give additional, such like the greater set 2 set give you additional attack percentage, meaning that you can do more damage. And you need to level the artifact set accordingly. And in a sense, is that you need to farm for everyone need to farm for this so-called artifact and become much stronger to do more damage. But the thing is, there is something called the main stat, which is at the top, and 4 main substat. If we are going to talk about like normal artifact set to clear the game normally, you don't really need too much of a good artifact set. But at the same time, you want to have something called considered good or good artifact set. Like the one on the left, the one with attack 311, it got a high critical damage and rate, and that is what a lot of people want. So in a way, that is considered a best set. For not good set or worse set to some people is substat that is not status that you wish for. The issue with this is that what many people they realize that all this stat is randomized in what, not just randomized. When a lot of people say Mihoyo game is a huge gacha issue, artifact set is something like gacha. When you hunt and farm for the artifact set, the substat and the stat are all randomized. It's totally random. And I had just mentioned you need to level them out, meaning to say that initially their stat is very, very low. And when you level it up from level 0 to level 20, the chance of it going to the right substat is totally randomized. It's totally random. So in a sense, what I mean is that even if you can have an artifact set that has crit rate and crit damage, it can go everything to the HP and defense, which is not considered good stat. So a bad stat can, so is that in that sense it's kind of based on randomness, and a lot of people is complaining about that is because farming for an artifact took a very, very long time. And even when you farm for a right artifact set with the right substat, leveling it up and hoping to it that you go into the right substat is another issue. And a lot of people is not happy with this. So it's totally random. It's, in a sense, you can say it's gacha, but at the same time, this is what a lot of people is not happy about artifact. So the artifact is what make a character in the game strong. They are not easy to farm for most players. At the same time, they are also not easy to get the stat that most people wish for. So on that upfront, a lot of people raised the issue to Mihoyo about the artifact issue, and Mihoyo addressed it accordingly with some other way, but they did not solve the issue on people wishing to have a good artifact set, and that is alone is something that Mihoyo failed to address, and that was one of the trigger, one of the chain of dissatisfaction among the player base. Second thing to talk about is that for casual players or some people who is willing to pay money to Mihoyo to support them, is the battle pass and the blessing of the working moon. For this is that the most interesting part is that this in a sense is that you need to pay for them in order to get free primal gem or some freebie or some item to help out you on into the game, as not just showing your support for the game itself, but at the same time showing that you can probably progress much easier than free to play players. What many people need to understand is that for this issue is that some people feel like the battle pass is not given good enough. I had no idea what is the issue with them. Some people feel like the weapon is they wish there is a change of weapon. Some people feel like the gift in the battle pass is not enough, or even to some people who buy the working is that they feel like the primal gem is not enough or whatsoever. But in a sense is that if you look at other games, it's similar. But I can at the same time understand their point of view is that some games do not even have better pass. Some games don't even have but at the same time, but for some game, they had a rotation, something like a change of weapon. So I'm not saying Mihoyo have to recreate 5 new better pass weapon or whatsoever. It's just that they need to switch a little bit thing here and there so that people will feel that Mihoyo is doing something. But at the same time, for better pass, some people feel like Mihoyo is just taking advantage. But at the same time, you can understand that to some people, if you wish to support Mihoyo, then get this. But at the time when Mihoyo decided not to give what they say, Mihoyo is being stingy. When you look at it, the numbers, you can understand is that a lot of people wish not to buy the better pass. They wish to become free to play with, because for those people who supported the game through these two things, in the sense that if you think about it, the amount of cost is quite a lot, to be honest. So it can cost up to $20 from or 30 bucks depending on the country that you got this on, but almost in the sense that almost a $30 for the better pass and the working. Instead, if you look at the numbers, if let's say that if people bought just the working, let's say there is 10 million players, a 10% players bought working. That is like 10% is like 1 million players bought working, and that is considered like for around $5 million is being earned based on working. So for Mihoyo, it's like they earn just based on the sales of working can cost just from minimum of 5 for around an estimation of 5 millions. But if there is more players buying working, like 2 million, 3 million player bought working, that is gonna increase a lot more. Same thing for Battle Pass. People can buy either the cheaper version of the Battle Pass or the expensive version of the Battle Pass, and that on another sense is that it will affect the whole sales. So if we look at the number statistic, to Mihoyo, their side is that the number out is gonna be a lot. It will be in the millions, even though it's just like 5, 10 or 20 bucks or 30 bucks, depending on how to a single player is looking at. Someone actually told me that even Mihoyo is losing him as a pay to play player, because but the thing is, I told him that you are looking at only 30 bucks. Mihoyo is looking not at 30 bucks. There was a call for boycott of people not to buy working and Battle Pass is because if everyone start to stop buying Battle Pass, Mihoyo is going to look at a huge loss, because to one single person is not much, but if let's say a percentage of the 1 million player who bought Battle Pass decided to drop, let's say 1 million, let's say a percentage, let's give a 20 to 30%, that is gonna mean that a lot more money that they are going to lose out on. A $500,000 can be to a maximum of $5,000 is gonna be a huge problem for them. And if every single one in the if everyone decided to just boycott and not buy working, that is gonna mean that they are not gonna earn money from working itself. So that is a huge loss for Mihoyo. So the numbers, in a sense, is that you have to look differently from the point of view is that how the number status that you look may be different from how Mihoyo look at. They are looking at huge sum of number. You are looking at just a small sum of number. We'll talk about that in a later timing, but for now, the next thing that I want to address that burnout. Some players talk about burnout is that I find it strange, but at the same time I can't blame them. It's because the three things that most players tend to do is, or actually basically just two, is the daily commission and the resin. Using the resin is what make you have easily found for artifact or material to level out your character. But the thing is, there is a limited amount of resin you can get in a day. Meaning to say that farming for an artifact or material to level up your character is very, very limited. If you play as per like how I play, normally just take my time and enjoy it, you are able to reach to a potential that most people can get. But at the same time, I can understand their point of view that is doing the same thing again and again is very boring to them. And if you ask me, I think is that it kind of like the community have to take a bit of blame, because if you are speed running the game and if you speed run the game or the game event and you say that there is no content, then that is on you. You done the whole thing. Which you can take your time to enjoy the game. You choose to speed run it, then complain about it. There is no content. Then start. Maybe if you really want to play the game, start a new account. Play the new account again. Play the same thing again, and just enjoy it. I mean, you can't just go around and say there is no game content. There is a lot of things to do in the game. It's just that how you enjoy it. If you feel like this is the thing that you should be doing in Genshin, then personally wise, I feel like you're just missing out on a lot more other interesting stuff that you might encounter by spending your time. If you don't want to spend your time in Genshin, by all means don't. Go out and enjoy other stuff. If you play other games, play those games. To me, I still don't feel burnout from Genshin. I've been playing Genshin for quite a while, and I feel like, yep, it's boring for during some part, but if you look at overall a lot of other games, many games do have the same thing about limited event or similar daily stuff that you need to do. It's the same for most games. It's just that how you go about it, how you address it, and how you use your time for other stuff affect how you can enjoy Genshin as a whole. So I can understand the reason why people is starting to feel burnout, because there are times when I feel like I'm bored of the game. But when I'm bored, I just do other stuff. I don't just play Genshin. There are so many stuff to do. But if you're gonna stick to Genshin itself, by all means stick to it. But at the same time, I can understand why people is starting to feel like Mihoyo is not doing too much, because people demand it, and the issue was raised there. Mihoyo didn't address on it. Mihoyo didn't even give any issue on it, and people been tiring this again and again. Like the previous one that I just mentioned for Battle Pass, people have been tiring about Battle Pass issue, about not enough, or about the weapon issue, or even about the Abyss being too hard, or being not free to play friendly, or resin not enough. All these people will always talk about it, and it's just that when people start talking about it and Mihoyo don't really address it too much, people is gonna feel that frustrated, and the frustration will be there. It just sadly that the anniversary was the final straw, and to most people who don't understand that is that this was the lead out. The dissatisfaction, the toxicity, the disappointment was already there long before. It's just that the anniversary reward slowly add the chain of event to all the current frustration that now, and the final straw was the Genshin Impact first anniversary reward, and people just backlash, and that caused a lot of issue. And finally, this one will be a quite a long thing that I want to talk about, is that the 5-star character issue, which I find it funny is that I can see when a lot of things lead to this, but at the same time, I feel like it's also the community have to take the fault. I wish the Genshin community understand what they do. I will point out that on the late as I speak along, but Genshin also did something wrong on their end, so we are gonna analyze each individual stuff. So for now, like let's say the latest 3 5-star character. The first one being Yoimiya, and then Raigen Shogun, and the latest current one is Kokomi. The interesting part for Yoimiya, Raigen Shogun, and Kokomi is that a lot of people was raising an issue about these 3 characters, how the synergies of these 3 characters with other characters that is already out for most people not meshing well or not working together. And if you ask me, I feel like the 3 of them work well together though. I mean, you can, if you, it's just that a few people talk about the synergy, their mechanic is a bit weird, but at the same time, if you think about how they use it, yes, they have their own mechanic. They are unique on their own. That is how. But that is not the thing that most people is pointing out. A lot of people is pointing out the mechanical right now. But the issue is not just the mechanical. People actually compare them to 4-star character. 5-star character is supposed to be stronger than 4-star, supposedly. But in a sense, is that for these 3 5-star character, their damage is not overwhelming. Their skill is less, or they do stuff that is lesser than a 4-star. And in a sense, is that for me, for them, it's not the fault of the character itself, but the developer who give the order to make sure the damage is fixed to that amount. Mihoyo had actually set the matter long before that a 5-star character is a very powerful character than a 4-star. But these 3 latest character, as I mentioned earlier, was part of the lead up to the explosion because their damage is not overwhelming. Everyone was not happy with the damage. Everyone is not happy with everything. There are a group of people who is happy with them. Like I'm happy with them because they are cute, they are nice. Even if the damage is not good, it just find ways to enjoy the game and use them to. It's alright. I don't have the first one, but if you ask me whether I enjoy the Raigen Shogun and Kokomi, I find them to be nice and good to use though, to be honest. It's just that some people might not like it, some people might like it. I had no idea. But I can understand the reason why people are not happy is because when you compare to their 4-star counterpart, like Yanfei, Sarah, and Barbara, then that is when something wrong about the 5-star appear. For Yanfei, although some people might say you shouldn't be comparing Yanfei to Yoimiya, yes, I know. But at the same time, if you look at the damage, you look at how a range card. If you ask me, Yanfei is easier to use. Her mech, she can do a lot more damage. All her hit are pyro based. She is easier to use. As compared to Yoimiya, there is still an issue with the bow. Some people still talk about bow issue. I'm not going to talk too much in depth on that. But there is it's just that when these two characters use their skills, Yanfei can do a lot more damage in the long run as compared to Yoimiya. And Yanfei is a 4-star character, which means that 4-star character in the game is actually considered much more easier to get than a 5-star. And when you think about Yoimiya being underwhelmed, but yes, but at the same time, if you think about Yanfei, she is one of the easier to use character as compared to Yoimiya, who is a lot of people as thinking that is a bit weird and not the ease of use is what made most people think about whether they want the game is character itself. For Reigen Shogun in the middle is that when compared to the one in the middle, Sarah, it's a bit sad because both are released on the same time. They got released on the same timing, but despite being a 4-star, Sarah, who is easy to get, actually easily overpowered with her damage according to when doing the damage with Reigen Shogun. What I meant is that if you do a damage showcase, yes, there are some people who say that Reigen Shogun can do a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong. But for average people who don't have Reigen Shogun, Sarah can do a lot more damage than what you might think. And if you get her, if you unlock her ability a lot more, she is gonna get even more powerful, and that is gonna overpower Reigen Shogun in the long run. And I will talk about Constellation later on, or ability. Sadly, for the last one, Barbara, who is a healer. A lot of people say that about Kokomi and Barbara is a healer. They are both healers. Mihoyo decided to remove the crit rate of, meaning that Kokomi couldn't do more damage, but Barbara might have a chance of doing more damage. But when you think about it, the most funny thing is that both are healer. One is already given for free. One you have to pull for it. You have to pay money, or if you got the in-game primal gem that is given on the daily basis and save them out, you can pull for her. But in the sense that people don't really want to pull for Kokomi, is because people is going to compare her with the 4-star, and sadly a lot of people try her out. Content creator, all this, they have showcased that the healing by Kokomi is not bad, but it's also at the same time comparable to the Barbara as a 4-stars. So in this case, if we look at Yoimiya, Reigen Shogun, and Kokomi, they are sadly compared by the 4-star character that people is going to compare. My opinion is that in future, people will start to think that they are good, or maybe in the long run, when better artifact set or better item for them appear, then people will start realize how great these 3 characters are. But as for right now, the reason why a lot of people is complaining for these 3 characters at the same time and comparing them to the 4-star character at the same time is that these 3 characters are doing stuff to make your game easier than a 5-star, which is a lot of people is not happy with. They really set the matter that Mihoyo really set the matter that if a 5-star is a as compared to a 4-star, it's supposed that a 5-star so easily mean that it's a 5-star, it's a powerful. But when a 4-star easily overpower a 5-star, then most people is not gonna feel happy about whether they want to get a 5-star or not. And the worst part, we'll talk about Raigen Shogun in the middle, is that her drama is way too much. But for Kokomi and Yoimiya, sadly, the sales for these two is very low, and people don't really pull for them too much. But if you ask me, I feel like they are fun to play with. And for the current banner, people just feel like because Barbara can heal much better, so Kokomi is not gonna get the love as much people. And the funny thing is that most people feel like they are disappointed with the latest 3 character, the latest 3 Inazuma character, is that actually it kind of at the same time feel like it's the fault of, at the same time I wouldn't say it's totally the full fault, but I have to say that Mihoyo have to take the blame for this. They set the matter themselves. When Mihoyo released Kazuha and Ayaka accordingly, these two will receive a lot of positive review, meaning to say that people who regretted not getting Kazuha regretted very, very deeply right now, because he is a very good character to play with. And Ayaka is a very easily DPS character to play with. The funny thing about these two characters is that people actually, like I mentioned earlier, compare them with a 4-star. Funny thing is that when Mihoyo released the ability of their skills, what they can do, a lot of people compare them to 4-star like Sucrose or Chongyu. Or even for Ayaka case, Elula, who is like the 6th, I think was like 6 weeks before it got Ayaka was released or announced. I think, or was it released? I can't recall it. But both are of the same element character, Kairos. Both are 5-star. Elula, the last one, got compared with Ayaka because both are cryo, both are 5-star. When people got Elula, people wasn't considered about getting Elula because if I got a 5-star Cairo, I'm not going to consider getting a 5-star same elemental character. But when the damage showcase about Ayaka get released, a lot of people got her, and people who got her are happy with it because her damage is really good. She is easy to use. Same for Kazuha. He is fun to play with. And a lot of people compare. People is gonna compare. People say that Kazuha and Sucrose is the same. Yes, they almost have the same similar ability, but when it comes to the ease of use, I'm not saying Sucrose is bad to use. I'm saying it's just that when it comes to the ease of use, Kazuha easily overpowered Sucrose. As for Ayaka, although she lose out to Elula in terms of the final damage, she do damage comparable to Elula since they are both 5-star. If they can, both are 5-star, they do comparable damage. It means they are on the same level. I have played both of them. I know how their skills. They are both of my favorite character. For Elula, before she got released, she was compared to Chongyu in the middle. The funny thing is that for Chongyu and Ella, both are cryo, the same elemental. Both are Claymore character. Meaning to say that Ella, when people use her, feel like if she's gonna use Ella, Chongyu might be a better one because Chongyu is a great support. He also a cryo. He's also a great sword. And people don't really want to consider getting Ella. But when the showcase, when people start using Ella, the video of people using Ella, and people realize how Ella is good, people just turn around and decide to get her. People just, and a few people who initially don't really want her, after looking into video content, regretted not getting her. So same story for Kazuha. People feel like, yeah, because she is similar to Sucrose, and Sucrose is a 4-star easier to get, so people is want them. But for the previous case, Yoimiya and Kokomi fail to justify people that people should pull for them. So in the sense that people is going to compare a 5-star to a 4-star, but at the same time, Mihoyo failed to. In the sense that I feel like that Mihoyo did fail to do that, the point where they kind of like nerfed before it got released or something like that. Because if the character got released is overwhelmed as compared to a 4-star character, then people will think about spending money to get them and trying to get them. But Mihoyo, instead of making them powerful, they made them with weird mechanic, and or in the worst case, that underwhelming damage, and that caused a lot of people to not even consider pulling for this character. And as I mentioned, 4-star are easier to get character, and people will just get them easily. But for Kazuha and Ayaka's case, they are very, very good to use. They are easily over any 4-star, and that caused a lot of people to really pull for them. And for some people, regretted not getting Kazuha. Work mechanic issue. I have to mention that it's not the first time Mihoyo had released character with weird mechanic. Alberto and Chao, is that for both these characters, they were both released with underwhelming sales. A lot of people talk about their mechanic being weird. I mean, Alberto was actually having skill set on which many people don't understand. It's like he create one Gion machine in the middle of somewhere. You stand on it, and then you can get sent up. Like you can stand above above the enemy. And for Chao, he is a bow user, but when he used his skill change, he became a mini character. Meaning to say that you are supposed to be a bow user. Why are you suddenly changing to a mini character? Because of the weird mechanic, people don't see or understand why are they good. So in the sense, the sales for them is very low. Same thing for Kokomi and Yoimiya and Reigen Shogun. They all have weird mechanic. It's just that right now, people are still not looking into the point how to make them work. But once in the near future, when people start to realize how good they are, then it'll be a different story. But as for right now, it's the same thing. People is gonna compare it to a 4-star or to a 4-star character, and they feel weird, and it doesn't justify people to pull for them. So same thing for Kokomi and Yoimiya. They are gonna get compared to Yanfei and Barbara. But if you ask me, real mechanic is just that right now they are not compatible with some people, but maybe in later timing. It's just that how good is it? Is it due to artifact change or whatsoever? There are still many ways of making it better, but it's just that most people doesn't understand the mechanic of some character. And that brings us to one thing that I need to address. The reason why I don't really want to talk about Raigen Shogun is that the funny thing is that a lot of people say that they are aware of Raigen Shogun and Bento, who is in the middle. People keep saying, "Oh, we are very aware of Raigen Shogun and Bento ability issue." First thing first, for Raigen Shogun is that when she used her burst secret art Muso Shinsetsu, when she used that skill, she is a pole arm user. When she used that skill Muso Shinsetsu, it will become a sword weapon, meaning to say it's a weapon change. As I mean, it's not and she is not the first character to have a weapon change during a skill. When she used a skill, like I mentioned earlier, Chow, or maybe to some people who love to call him as Tatagalia, he when he used a skill, he changed his he became a melee character from a bow user to a melee character. It's a weapon change for him, and for Raigen Shogun is similar. When the funny thing is that during beta testing, there was leak told by leakers that Raigen Shogun pair well with Bento, similar to how Bento pair well with Chow. But when Raigen Shogun got released, the ability that both Raigen Shogun and Bento do, the synergy suddenly got removed, which caused many backlash, and a lot of people was not satisfied with Mihoyo. This caused a lot of people to be mad at Mihoyo, but Mihoyo still didn't do anything in regards to that. They just choose not to talk about it as for right now. And as for right now, I'm still not quite sure what Mihoyo will do in regards to this, but as right now there is no message in regard to the synergy between these two characters. But the most funny thing is that most people ask, why does the weapon change synergy has to be work? When Chow changed his ability from a bow user to a melee character, it's a change of weapon. In a sense, it's a weapon change. Yet, even when he used that as ability, his ability still work with Bento burst called Stormbreaker. But for Raigen Shogun, it worked a bit differently. Meaning to say that it is supposed to work pair well. They are supposed to pair out together, but instead, Mihoyo decided to maybe just remove the synergies, which caused a lot of people to be very, very mad at Mihoyo. Because if you ask me, if they can pair well together, I'm happy. But a lot of people start to be angry at Mihoyo is because a lot of people who got Bento built her up so that when they get Raigen Shogun, they can pair Bento and Raigen Shogun together, hoping for a Bento Chow combo. But instead, they got disappointed, and the frustration was there. there's a frustration over there, causing a lot of people to be mad already. But Mihoyo still feel to address that. And the one thing for Raiken Shogun is that her damage is underwhelming. So a lot of people was very mad. It's not really the Raiken Shogun fault, because her damage, if you look at the percentage, is pretty high. The issue is actually lie on what Mihoyo did for electro damage. The electro for each elemental damage, like the Gion, the Ameno, a Pyro, or the Electro, Raiken Shogun, the god or should we call the Archon of Electro. The Electro in the game has a long running issue about low damage multiplier, meaning to say that it deal damage not as high as other elemental do. And the most fun thing is that when Mihoyo addressed it in version 1.6, increasing the damage, the so-called damage to buff up Electro, it actually indirectly buffed the animal characters. Meaning to say that animal characters or the wing characters, they got even powerful. And the most funny thing is that Raiken Shogun is considered one of the crazy strong character in the game. Yet, when it compared to the two previous Archon, Vendit and Zhongli, Raiken Shogun damage is not as much as what people wish, because this on one hand is okay. I have to point these two things out, is that Mihoyo set the matter of strong Archon, meaning that when you are an Archon, you are a strong character. Raiken Shogun sales overpowered Vendit and Zhongli sales. Yet, a lot of people feel like they are tricked by Mihoyo, that her damage is not overwhelming. Everyone thought that because she is an Archon, she will be very, very powerful. Instead, they do not get that, and people are frustrated. Is that if they get Raiken Shogun, it should be a very powerful character, a very good correlation to Zhongli and Vendit. Instead, the damage was underwhelming, so that caused a huge frustration in many people's mind. And as I mentioned earlier, if they base off the lore of the story, Vendit mentioned that he is the weakest out of the 7 Archon. But when it came to crowd control, when it comes to damage multiplier, the sure damage in the game, he is one of the best Archon of the 3 at the moment. This caused a huge backlash on some communities, but whether Mihoyo will address this or not is we have to see how it goes. Will they or will they not? I had no idea. But in a sense is that when I mentioned earlier, don't ever hope too much, because when people get Raiken Shogun, they hope that the hope was there, because Mihoyo said the matter of when it's an Archon character, it will be very strong. But instead, they set it as a buff. They set it as they buff it, they nerf it, or whatsoever. They actually set it that a normal character damage issue, meaning to say that, as I mentioned earlier, compatible to a 4 stars. That alone caused a lot of people to like not satisfied with Mihoyo. Let's say it that way. And out of these 3 Archon, Raiken Shogun is that she is supposed to do a lot of damage, but she in the story she is very, very strong. But when we got it, it's a different story. So the frustration is one of that, and a lot of people start to talk about. And for Raiken, it's not really a Raiken Shogun itself. It's just that when Mihoyo set the matter, they were afraid of setting a character too powerful. But at the same time, they already set the seals, the matter of strong Archon themselves. They made Zhongli strong, they made Venti strong, but when they set Raikens Shogun, everyone was really disappointed. So Mihoyo had to take the fall. But at the same time, community have to understand, when you hope too much, gonna get disappointed. That is also the reason why I always say don't hope too much. Another issue that I need to address, the funny thing is that when I say people love to compare, it's always not wrong to people wish to compare. It's like me for Yoimiya, people compare her with Kanyu. People say that because Kanyu is a 5-star archer. I know Chao is a 5-star archer, but when it comes to skill, he is more a melee than a bow archer. So the best 5-star to compare will be Kanyu. And Kanyu is one of the best DPS character in the game. But people is gonna compare her Yoimiya with Kanyu no matter what, because those are 5-star, even because people is gonna compare. It's a 5-star character archer as well as opposing elemental fire and ice. The interesting part for Kanyu is that initially Kanyu was compared to Ember, who is a 4-star. People even call Kanyu a 5-star Ember, a cryo 5-star Ember. But when Kanyu got released, when people realized that her damage is very high, when people realized that she is a very good to use character, people want her, people pull for her, all this stuff. It's the same thing for that. People is going to compare a 4-star to a 5-star. Ember is a character you get for free at the start of the game. And she was considered the weakest character in the game. Personally wise, I had used her. I find her not bad, but I'm still don't want to give my verdict, because even if people say that she is the worst, she is the weakest, you just know how to build her. I have seen people who use her who can deal a lot of damage with Ember. It's just what kind of artifacts that you give her, how you build her out. That's all its matter. For Ember, another funny thing about Ember is that she is not an easy to use in mobile, but alright in PlayStation and PC. So people is going to compare a 4-star to a 5-star. So Kanyu was one of the characters who got compared and got on the people is going to compare her, and people like Kanyu, and it got overwhelmed when you compare and the character overwhelm a 4-star. People is going to like the 5-star. Same thing for Kasuha and Ayaka. But for Yoimiya, she got released on the birthday of Ember. Although she is better to use than Ember, but when you compare, a lot of people however compare her to Kanyu, which I can't blame them, but in a sense is that her burst is, how to say it, work in a way that most people not expecting it. But at the same time, Kanyu and Yoimiya, initially not everyone understand them. So for Yoimiya, maybe in the long run, she will get understandable. She will get understand how a mechanic really work, and people will maybe start using her for based on that other ways. But as for right now, she took a huge hit on that. And the funny thing is that she got released after Ayaka. When people got Ayaka, people is unable to, don't have enough money to get pull for Yoimiya. And considering that Yoimiya was actually before Raikens Shogun, I know Mihoyo have to release talk about which character is being released, and they realized that Mihoyo realized that when they talk about releasing Yoimiya after Ayaka and before Raken Shogun, her sale is gonna get affected. But at the same time, the sales is one thing. When we talk about sales is one thing because people is gonna save up for Ayaka or save up for Raken Shogun or even for people who are gonna spend money, they're gonna spend on getting Ayaka or Raken Shogun but not Yoimiya because they don't have enough money. That is one issue. Second issue, her mechanical. A lot of people raise out the issue. Her mechanic work weirdly. I don't have her. I unable to test her out. I do not know. Same thing for Kanyu, but I can understand a lot of people say that she is hard to use or weird to use. It's just that in the long run, maybe people start realizing her how she is being used or whatsoever. But as for right now, it's just I can't comment too much on this. But that is just how this is how I feel like people were gonna compare all these characters accordingly, and it's just although unfair, that's just how people is gonna compare to see whether they do these 5 stars justify their 5 stars, as well as is it possible to get them or not, or do they want to spend real life money to get them? And we need to talk about the next thing we have to talk is about the 5-star PT. The 5-star PT that I have to raise out is that most people don't understand the issue about 5-star. The issue about getting a 5-star character or a 5-star weapon. Getting them is not hard if you got the money. So the issue is that a lot of people raise out is that for Genshin is that getting a 5-star is really not easy. When you think about getting a 5-star in Genshin, the chance of getting it is really, really low. But the amount of money you need to spend to get them is ridiculously high. It's really, really high. A lot of people don't understand that, and they just say it's standard. The number for the chance of getting a 5-star should be high, should be very, very long, and it's not very high chance of getting it. But a lot of people is not complaining on just that. People is complaining about the cost to get it, which I have to explain. First thing first. Getting a 5-star is like when you get a 5-star, it's not just getting a 5-star. You need, some people will want to like get refinement for it, or to level up their character up accordingly. So in this case is that, let's say if you get a character, if you want to make a weapon, a 5-star weapon, although this time I'm showing although this is based off of 4 stars, in the sense that you need to understand that what you need to understand is that for a weapon to become more powerful, leveling up is one thing. Doing something called refinement, it increases the damage for your for the weapon, meaning to say that it can do more damage or do with better effect. Or for a character, it unlocking the same character again, meaning to say that constellation, it means that when you get the character, you get everything at constellation 0. But if you get the character up to additional 6 more times, meaning to say you get the same character 7 times in total, you can unlock more ability, and each ability unlock will make your character more stronger. For a 4-star character, because they are easier to get than a 5-star, it means that getting a 4-star character can easily overpower a 5-star character. That's the reason why people start comparing a 4-star with a 5-star. Is it justified to get a 5-star, or is it not justified to get a 5-star? And as I mentioned, since it's way easier to get a 4-star, obviously people will just consider getting a 4-star instead of getting a 5-star. Same thing for weapon. A maximum refinement of 5. When you get the weapon, it's always rank refinement 1. And you need to spend out to 4 or 5 you have to spend out to 4 additional time to make the weapon to R5. So it's like rank 1 and then you sacrifice the same weapon. It has to be the same weapon to make the weapon to become a rank 2. And you can make it to a rank 5, which means that for a maximum of 5, you need to get this weapon 5 times to make it into a R5 weapon. Same thing for character, you need to get the character 7 times. And here's the issue. Soft PT, if you get the character is alright, but the reason why I mentioned it, the cost of getting the character, the cost of getting the weapon is really ridiculously high, which is why a lot of people is not happy with. In this game, we are going to talk about the issue about the cost of getting a character to be more powerful. When you use your real life money to get 1 crystal, because if you see in this picture, the cost of getting a crystal, the cheapest one is 60 crystal at 120 yen, and the highest one 6,480 crystal at 12,000 Japanese yen. That is a lot of money, because if I were to do a translation, a diagram here, 60 primal gem, which is equivalent to 120 Japanese yen, costs US dollar $1.07. For 6,480 primal gem, it costs an amount of 12,000 Japanese yen, which is equivalent to $107, which is quite a lot. And if you think about it, 1 primal gem costs around it costs around 1.85 Japanese yen to 2 Japanese yen. I know it's like it's just a 2 cent only, but the thing is, you need to understand one thing. 1 pool is 160 primal gem, meaning to say that it costs 296 Japanese yen or 2.65 US dollar, estimate around there. There is something called a soft PT with 90 pull, a 50% chance, meaning to say that if you pull for an event banner, the chance of you getting the specific character that you want is at 50-50. Meaning to say that if you fail the 50-50, you will get another character instead and not the character you want. So for example, if let's say that I'm going to pull for Raigen Shogun, if I fail my soft PT, if I win the 50-50 if I reach all the way to 90 pull, I can get Raigen Shogun, but only at 50-50% chance. If I fail the 50-50% chance, it means that I will get another 5-star character or a 5-star weapon depending on my luck. But it means that I lost the 50-50. But there is something called the guarantee pull, meaning to say that you have to pull another 90 times, up to another additional 90 times to hit the hard PT. Meaning to say that if let's say that if you need to pull additional 90 more time to reach the hard PT. So the soft PT and the hard PT were a little bit funny. Is that the soft PT is the within 90 pool. Hard PT work within 90 pool after the first loss of the soft PT. So meaning to say that the reason why I write 180 pool is based on the worst case scenario. So if you can pull, if you lost your chance at the 10 pool, example you do a 10 pool, you got a 5-star but you lost the 50-50. The next 90 pool will be definite a 5-star. But the thing is, if you ask me, it's hard to know how good your luck is, considering that Mihoyo said the chance of getting a 5-star is very, very low. So when we do the calculation, 90 pool require you 14,400 Primogen, which is equivalent to 26,640 Japanese yen, or $238.05. And for 180 pool is 28,800 Primogen, which costs 33,280 Japanese yen, or US dollars 476.10 estimate. This is based on all estimate. And if you think about it, just to get one character, you need to spend up to this much. If you think about it, if the character is not strong, when people spend that much real money for this character, people is not gonna be happy. People is not gonna feel happy because they are spending real life money on something that is not doing to what they are expected. It's like you spend $3 to buy a milk tea that supposedly to taste delicious, and when you bought it, it doesn't taste delicious. You're gonna feel disappointed. Some people might feel mad, some people will feel sad, or some people will not even drink it anymore. It's the same thing here. People is gonna compare it to a 5-star character to a 4-star, and if it underperform than a 4-star, people is not gonna feel happy because the amount of money to get them is not very easily. And the funny thing is that every 10 pool, you are given a 4-star character for free. Meaning to say that if you do a 10 pool, one of the character in the 10 pool will be a 4-star. Meaning to say that a 4-star character you can easily get a 4-star character and not the 5-star. And by the time you get all the way to a 5-star character, you might have a lot of 4-star character, or in some cases a better 4-star character build. Meaning to say you unlock more, as I mentioned, you unlock more ability, or for the weapon it became more stronger or something like that. So that's the situation for the weapon and the character. A 5-star weapon and a 5-star character is that if they underperform by a 4-star, people is not going to feel happy at all. And if you take a look, if some people who want to do a 5-star character constellation, meaning to say that unlock all the ability for the 5 stars, the worst case scenario I just write, it's just based on it's based only if the person pull for the character fail every single 50-50 soft PT, get all the way to hard PT. It will take up to 1,260 pull, which is equivalent to 201,600 Primogen. That is gonna cost you a total of, for the 5-star character C6, it's gonna cost you 372,960 Japanese yen, or US dollar $3,332.70 estimate. That alone, if you ask me, I can spend that money to for my rent and or probably I'm going to rent a better house instead. I can even use the money to and spend it to get a better money for myself, you know. But on the other hand, that is quite a lot of money though. For the 5-star weapon refinement, 900 pool, which is equivalent to 144,000 Primogen, which is equivalent to 266,400 Japanese yen, or $2,380.50. If a person wish to get all this, a 5-star refinement, a 5-star calculator constellation, this is based on the worst case scenario. It can cost them up to 468,000 Japanese yen, or 5,000, or in other words, you can just say it's $5,713.20 estimate. I mean, there are some people who say they spend lesser money, but this is only based on the worst case scenario. That alone is a huge sum of money that you need to spend. Obviously, you can spend $1,000. There are going to be some people who say they can get up to a C6 at $1,000 US dollar or $2,000 US dollar, but it's gacha. This calculation is only based on the worst case scenario. People is not gonna be happy about having spent that much money just to get them, and that is the reason why some people are given the name whale, 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 because the chance of getting them the character that ought to be powerful for a 5-star is you need to spend a lot of money, which is really crazy. So if you think about it, some people will be talking about there are some people who told me funny thing is that there is a double crystal bonus. Don't get tricked by that. That is only one time, the first purchase. The issue about Mihoyo should be a lot of games say that if you bought if you bought stuff from them, they will make it easier for you to that spending after a specific amount of money, they can give you additional bonus. Which means I have played a few games who pay which you need to pay to play. But the thing is, the other version or in-game cash is much more beneficial to when you pay for it. Meaning to say that if for example if I buy a crystal from another game, it will give me additional reward, and it's not a one-time. It's like if I bought it again, the bonus will be there forever. But Mihoyo for Genshin Impact is a one-time purchase, meaning to say that if I spend, let's say for example, I spend 6,100 to get the 3,280 crystal, I can get additional bonus of 3,280 crystal, which is quite a lot. But if I bought the same package again, I will not get that bonus again. That is only on the first one time only, which is why a lot of people is not happy because they have to spend quite a lot of money to get the character. So right now we're going to talk about sales of the 5 stars. The sale, like I mentioned earlier, that when people want to pull for the event, as I mentioned earlier, when you pull for the weapon banner or when you pull for a 5-star character, they are a different banner. That's the reason why you need to, when you pull for character, is pull for character. When you pull for banner, is pull weapon is pull for weapon. It is not the same, and that is the reason why it is kind of complicated when you really want to get a weapon of those. But that's just how the Genshin Impact gacha work. Either you get a weapon or you get a character. Most people go for a character because they are fun to play with. But some people decide to become more powerful, they get a weapon. Some people who spend real life money to get both, well, and that will be another issue. So most people need to understand that. But some people argue, we are free to play. The game is free to play. But the gacha, either you save the free primal gem that you get daily, the small amount of free primal gem you get daily, to pull for the banner you want, or you can learn from some people, spend some money to get the primal gem to pull for the thing you want. But when you look at the amount of money you need to pull for the character, it is costing a lot. It is costing a lot of money. And people is not happy with it, that it costs a lot to get the character so to Mihoyo, it's like they want to earn money, which is not wrong. But to another group of people who is like, some people who is free to play say that it still doesn't justify that is the reason. Let's say that if the chance of you able to get a character, each individual character easily, but if you can pay for it at a cheap, easily, like if you want to buy the character itself, let's say that you want to pay to get a character for the gacha, some people might not want to do it because they want to stay at free to play. But there will be some group of people who will be tamed to pay to get the character. They will pay to get a chance to get the character themselves, meaning to say that they are willing to pay from a free to play player. They will be willing to pay for it. But as for right now, that some people who is still sticking to free to play players, they are unhappy that having some people not having fun with those characters. Some people is not having this or having that. So in a sense, is that communities, this part of the community's issue that based on my thought is that they are complaining about it. But at the same time, I feel like it's not really justified to say that they want better easily to get the pull of the character, which is not wrong. I also wish that Mihoyo can make the character easily to get, but I can understand the reason why Mihoyo want to earn money. Is that they are a game company, they are earning. But at the same time, I feel like if they lower the cost for Primal Gem, or better still change the setting to get the character for the soft PT, hard PT issue, it may cause more people to even consider paying to get the character, and it may also increase the sales for Mihoyo. But at the same time, it might not increase because, as I mentioned earlier, people is already free to play players. They will stick to that. But at the same time, free to play players have to understand is that there are a group of people who are willing to pay. It's just that you have yet to either meet them, or you have to understand the situation. Because if you say you are free to play players, everyone is free to play. The issue about Mihoyo anniversary issue is that it also costs people who pay to play for the game also make noise because they feel like unappreciated. There is a group of people who feel unappreciated because they supported Mihoyo with money to get the character, but Mihoyo is not appreciate them. That's the reason why they also start to make noise. And that is when things start to get haywire and whatsoever. And that alone is part of the issue of a group of people already. And if you take a look, the sales that they made in total, It's crazy lot. It's crazy lot of money. The funny thing is that Raging Shogun, her first banner run, easily overtake Vandit, who had rerun twice. Vandit had rerun twice. He is considered the weakest of the 7 Archon, and yet everyone pulled for Raging Shogun, expecting her to be way powerful, but instead she is not powerful at all. Kokomi, because she is underwhelmed, her ability is comparable to Barbarot, who is a 4-star. She got hit the worst, meaning to say a lot of people didn't want to pull for her, but there is only one view. Another thing that most people need to understand, that when everyone spend money to pull for Raging Shogun, as I mentioned, people spend money to pull for Raging Shogun. They might have spent all their money on Raging Shogun. They don't have money to pull for Kokomi. So it's really hard to say that for this to justify that Kokomi banner will increase or not. It's just that right now it's not justified to say that Kokomi is one of the worst, because as for right now, the reason most people is not pulling for Kokomi is because after looking at this chat, people spend money to pull for Raging Shogun. Obviously, not everyone have the money enough to pull for Kokomi. For my case, I was lucky to able to pull for Kokomi. But the thing is, not everyone got the chance to pull for her. So it's she is kind of in a very, very bad place. Because if you take a look at this chat, the table for Raging Shogun is very, very high. The mountain peak is very, very high, while Kokomi is so far the lowest at the moment. So it's like when Mihoyo created the trailer of Raging Shogun standing somewhere at the top and Kokomi standing somewhere deep in the ocean. Probably they already predicted that Raging Shogun is gonna be the highest sales and Kokomi will be the lowest sales. Maybe that's the way of saying it. But if you think about it and look over the chat, Yoimiya would, after the sales of Ayaka, Yoimiya got hit, not just of Raging Shogun. She got hit by Ayaka. If you take a look at this mountain, is that you notice is that most mountain is going up and down. Meaning in the sense to say that for Kazuha, the reason why Kazuha got a lot of people start regretting not getting Kazuha is because people spend money to pull for Kree, the character before it. And a lot of people compare Kazuha to Sucroses. But when people and content players start releasing new video about how good Kazuha is, people start regretting it. And Kazuha, to be honest, is really one of the best support as compared to a Sucrose. So people really wanted Kazuha, but in a sense, start regretting it. The comparison. As I mentioned earlier, when people spend money, it's like they spend money on one character, they will not have enough money to spend on the second character. For Kree, people spend money on getting Kree, or maybe previously after spending money to get Elula. After getting Kree, people don't have enough money to put for Kazuha, or even in some cases save for Ayaka. If you notice, Kazuha is considered lower than Kree and Ayaka, so Kazuha is stuck in the middle. Ayaka was already announced. A lot of people want Ayaka, so a lot of people pull for Ayaka. So despite the sales not that high, she was considered higher than Kazuha. But you have to notice the reason why Ayaka is lower than Elula is in the funny sense is that for, as I mentioned, people compare Ayaka to Elula. Elula was released 2 characters before Ayaka. And in that sense, make it that when Mihoyo released Ayaka, it kind of like make it like, how to say it, a conflicting cryo, 5-star cryo characters. So in the sense is that people compare Ayaka with Elula, and people still, don't get me wrong, people still pull for Ayaka, but not as much as you might think. And then later on, we got Yoimiya. Her sales got dropped a lot because of one thing is that Mihoyo released the news about Raigen Shogun to be released after Yoimiya. Everyone want to save for Raigen Shogun because they already, as I mentioned earlier, people have has set the mind, and Mihoyo has set the metal that of Archon will be is a strong character. Raigen Shogun is a 5-star. He is the Archon of Electro. Ventit is a very good strong character. Zhongli is one of the strong character. So obviously everyone want to pull for Raigen Shogun, hoping that she'll be powerful, but instead she is not as what I meant as expected. So right now there is a noise on that drama. Is that people, as I mentioned earlier, is that Raigen Shogun people pull for Raigen Shogun is because they want her to synergize with a lot of different characters, just like how Fenty and Zhongli do. But she don't. So a lot of people is making noise about Raigen Shogun. But the funny thing is about for people pulling for Raigen Shogun, that will be another issue. But because everyone is pulling for Raigen Shogun, almost everyone is pulling for Raigen Shogun, people don't really want to pull for Yoimiya. Meaning to say that the pull for Yoimiya was very, very less. And on top of her weird mechanic, which I mentioned very long ago, is that people don't understand how her skill works yet. So people don't really want to pull for her. So maybe in future, if she do have a rerun, if when people start to realize how good she is, maybe she'll get a better pull. But as for right now, she is not. A lot of people is not getting her. And for Kokomi, she got hit the word is because of some that Mihoyo nerfed the character. She can't do, meaning to say that she can't do high damage. But despite not able to do high damage, she is a healer. But when you think about a Hydro character healer, as I mentioned, only people love to compare. So Barbara, who is a 4-star character, will get compared to her, and Barbara is a good healer too. So when you think about it, people is gonna compare, and when Barbara is a better healer in the game as for right now, obviously people won't consider pulling for Kokomi instead as for now, because after spending money on Raigen Shogun, people is not gonna pull for Kokomi. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, there is also a group of people who is considered pulling for Kokomi. It's because after spending all their money on Raigen Shogun, they might not have the money to pull for Kokomi. So the sales for Kokomi might increase at later timing. Just that a lot of people say that Kokomi is the lowest sale. I feel like it's really kind of wrong to say that too fast, because there is still 12 days of before the ending, and people in real life who pay to play, they have to work. It's probably their salary is not in yet, and they are waiting for the salary, so that when they got the money, they might consider pulling for Kokomi. Maybe just a C0 or a C1 depending on them. But right now, one of the reasons why Kokomi is not on the highest is I feel like people just spend a lot of money on Raigen Shogun. They just don't have enough money to pull for Kokomi as for right now. The last thing I want to highlight and probably just talk about in a very fast way, fixing up the leakers. Mihoyo, because when I say about Mihoyo, they want to catch the leakers, it's because the drama about Raigen Shogun's skill not working with Bento skill, or what character being released that will affect, in a sense, it's because of the leakers. Because Mihoyo have to take the blame for that. They set the sales for a character very, very high, and that caused a lot of people to find that it's not justified to get each character. Meaning to say, people will save the money to get a later character or whatsoever. But Mihoyo decided to go after the leakers because leakers, they will release which character will get released next, or which character will have their skill be like. This, in a sense, although create people to be taking note of the character, but at the same time, it also can hurt Mihoyo in another way, because if Mihoyo during the data testing wish to change or nerf the character before the release, at least while the public is not aware, they can change it accordingly. But the leaker tell the issue. So for the Raigen Shogun Bendo issue is that in the data testing, Raigen Shogun does work well with Bento, but when she got released, it wasn't, and that caused a lot of people to be unhappy with. Another issue is that leakers also tell a lot of people that what character might get released next. Mihoyo always try to prevent telling a lot of people character that will be released next. A lot of people wondering why Mihoyo is not talking about is that if you ask me, considering that getting a 5-star character is not cheap, Mihoyo do not want to spoil what character get released next, so that you will pull for each banner as per normal without knowing what character will be next. They wish that the next sales, they wish that what Mihoyo wish, in my opinion, is that they do not wish people to take the next character to next 5-star release character to be part of the consideration when you pull for the current banner. If you knew what character is going to get released, you might not even consider whether do you want to pull for the current banner. And that alone is what Mihoyo wish not to do. And leakers do those, and so that the reason why Mihoyo is doing something like this is that it's the reason why a lot of people feel like Mihoyo is supposed to tell everyone what character get released, this and that, which is not wrong, but it will affect the sales of the character, and that alone will also affect the sales for Mihoyo character. Like I just show you, it will definitely affect the graph here. When Raigen Shogun and Kokomi got released, the news of them getting released, a lot of people don't really want to consider pulling for Yoimiya or Kokomi because they want to get Raigen Shogun. Because in the sense is that even when Mihoyo released the leak, they released which character will get released. When they released the news about Raigen Shogun and Kokomi get released, it affect the sales of the character that people is gonna pull for. So in a sense is that what Mihoyo wished is that they want people to pull for individual character accordingly, without taking which character will get released accordingly. So if you think about it, personally wise, I do understand Mihoyo trying to prevent the next banner to be the next banner character banner to be part of the consideration for the current banner sales. But at the same time, there are a lot of factors like character damage or the mechanical of the 5-star, or being underwhelmed when compared to, or being overwhelmed, or being compatible to a 4-star, or being overtaken. Even worse is being overtaken by a 4-star. So a lot of people is taking all these situations into consideration, and it's seriously is not a good thing for Mihoyo, because consider that a 5-star is way harder to get than a 4-stars. So I feel like Mihoyo need to address this personally, and they need to take the consideration for situation carefully. But overall, I would say that it is kind of bad that, considering that the sales is really that the reason why leakers the Mihoyo is trying to catch the leaker is because the leakers, when they release the news of what character is getting released next, it does cause a lot of people to plan what kind of character they want to get next. Whether they want to save the money, or do they want to save or they consider to pull for the character next, or do they want to like hold on. So it's like the leakers does affect the sales of the character, not just releasing like what synergies can each new character pair out with the current characters. So to Mihoyo, the reason why they trying to catch the leaker is that it's not just it's seriously not just the reason why they want to catch because they are getting their information get leaked out. It's more like there is so many factors like the sales of the character, or when Mihoyo decided to nerf the character before getting it released first. There are a lot of factors. If you think about it, that like let's say if they nerf it, if in the data is more powerful, and the leaker say it's powerful, obviously everyone will hold their hope high, and that's what happened to a lot of character. That's what happened to Raigen Shogun. A lot of people is not happy with Raigen Shogun damage being not too high, because or the Raigen Shogun bento issue. But on the other hand, if you ask me, is that there is on a weird side that to think that the leaker is also on fault, is because what they're doing is not right, but at the same time it's also, I wouldn't say it's wrong, because it also helped to give some insight into the game. Because Mihoyo used to give something like this, like showing what kind of character leak and what kind of skill will be way before way before the leakers would think. And as for right now, Mihoyo stopped doing such thing, because they don't really want people to start planning what's their sales needs. But if you think about the whole situation about the 5-stars character PT, all this, it's not really easy to get a 5-star character as compared to a 4-stars. So unless Mihoyo changed the setting on that or address the issue on that, personally wise, I find it that there are just too many issues with Mihoyo at the moment that caused the lead out of the final issue on the drama in regards to what they call it, the anniversary backlash, which in fact is a chain of event all the way from the artifact issue to the character issue, or even burnout issue. Or there are so many different issues that that Mihoyo need to address, and Mihoyo choosing not to address it caused a lot of people to hold frustration over the issue. And the final straw, as I mentioned, was because of the anniversary. For in regards to the communities, at the same time, I mentioned they shouldn't hold too much hope. And I can understand the frustration because I'm a Genshin player myself. But at the same time, it's just that there are ways to handle such case, and it's just that it was getting out of hand. But as for right now, my advice to everyone is don't hold too much hope, because despite that Mihoyo is right now giving free stuff or everything, I feel like everyone is holding too much hope, because I have seen a lot of videos, I have seen a lot of YouTube videos, I checked with a few people. They are all holding on to a dangerous amount of hope at the moment, which I find it to be very dangerous at the moment. Because if you hold too much hope, you're gonna get disappointed. So, despite the current thing about Mihoyo decided to give a free guided wing and some primal gem, if Mihoyo decided to give at the time of this recording give a reward, the second part of the series reward, not up to standard, it is gonna receive quite a little backlash from, not really a little, it's more like it's gonna get some people unsatisfied, because there is still no answer from Mihoyo. At the same time, it's still if a lot of people is disappointed because of too much hope. So my advice for right now is that after talking for almost 3 hours, I hope that everyone can understand that the issue about Mihoyo and within the community is really not just the anniversary reward. It's just only part of the underlying reward. It's just the final. It was the final straw. It was so many different small little details and issues that caused all to the latest one. And if you ask me, I just think that Mihoyo should really address the whole thing and address the issue accordingly. Because if you ask me, I hope that at least Mihoyo give an answer in the live stream 2.2 live stream. But as I mentioned, don't hold too much hope, because sometimes the disappointment after a huge hope is really a huge disappointment. For now, it's just that I hope everyone just enjoy the game and just forget about this situation about Genshin Impact first anniversary. If Mihoyo decided to address it, then good for us. But as for right now, I feel like it's just not certified. It's just not justified everyone to get mad over a game, because as I mentioned, I'm just analyzing and giving my view at everything. It's just that everyone should not make it a huge issue. I know that everyone will just say that, yeah, we should make a huge issue. If not, the Mihoyo will not even do something like give a free win. It's because they give free win because they listen to us or whatsoever. I know that might be the case, but at the same time, don't drag other games into the situation, or get even unrelated people into the situation. That is the only thing that I hope that for every player in the Genshin communities. As for Mihoyo, if they even listen to this video, this almost 3 hours video, please just listen. We are not asking too much. but at the very least address some issue on hand. Anyone they still listen to this timing, thank you for everyone timing. My apology for talking for way too much. Please give a like or a dislike if you don't like the way I talk for too long. And peace out everyone. 私がさった